So back in 2019, when you worked at Disney, the Disney Corporation, you could expect a long and pretty stable career. It's a huge company, lots of things you could keep doing there at a pretty good salary. And the only cost would be you have to follow the rules. Disney at the time was getting increasingly political, and the people who worked there were expected to go along with it. So don't say anything and you'll be absolutely fine. But for some reason, she could not follow that rule.
Boy, we're going to learn what everybody made on these to see exactly how much they stole from the great Gina Carano. Again, what an evil empire, man. Gina Carano had so much evil, vicious venom spat on her from Disney on the way out. People clearly had an agenda.
In 2021, for all of these people, this Disney and Lucasfilm, to make me really think about, oh, geez, where is my line? That's not what I want to say, and that's not what I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Then after that, Gina Carano was fired by Disney after making a pretty stupid tweet comparing the left to Nazis.
But I feel like you're pushing your ideologies on me, and you are, and you're backing me into corners that I had to draw a line, and they kept crossing it.
Oh, man.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
Is Disney, the global entertainment titan, finally facing a legal battle it can't just wish away with a sprinkle of pixie dust? For years, the House of Mouse has seemed untouchable, a magical kingdom immune to real-world consequences. But now, a storm is brewing in the form of a lawsuit, and it could expose more than just corporate secrets.
Moment where you were going to come back. You're the OG. You're the OG.
Thank you.
In terms of women's MMA, who is more OG than you?
I'm not MMA, but like Lucia Riker.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Muay Thai, yeah, and in boxing, yeah, and then there's Christy Martin. Of MMA, you're the OG.
Well, I appreciate.
It all began with a tweet. Gina Carano, the breakout star of The Mandalorian, who brought the tough-as-nails Cara Dune to life, found herself in the crosshairs after expressing political opinions online. Fans adored her character, a strong, independent woman in the Star Wars universe. But Disney, increasingly vocal about its own values, deemed Carano's views incompatible with their family-friendly brand. The result? A swift and very public firing. Many cried foul, pointing to perceived double standards and raising questions about free speech in Hollywood. But this was just the beginning of a much larger fight, one that would drag Disney into a legal arena they seemed desperate to avoid. But did Disney really think that was the end of it? Just when Disney thought they'd close the book on this controversial chapter, a wild card entered the game. Elon Musk. Yes, that Elon Musk. The billionaire, known for his own battles against perceived censorship and corporate overreach, stepped in to bankroll Carano's wrongful termination lawsuit. Imagine the collective gasp in Disney's Burbank headquarters. This wasn't just a disgruntled actress anymore. This was a David versus Goliath showdown, amplified by one of the world's wealthiest and most unpredictable figures. Suddenly, the lawsuit had teeth, resources, and a whole new level of public attention. And suddenly, what looked like a simple firing became a corporate nightmare for Disney. Disney's initial response? To seemingly ignore the problem and hope it would vanish like pixie dust. Accusations quickly surfaced that the media giant was engaging in classic stonewalling tactics. Carano's legal team claimed Disney was dragging their feet, dodging requests for information, and generally making it as difficult as possible to move the case forward. They were accused of deflection, delay, and a blatant refusal to hand over crucial documents. It looked like Disney was betting on their vast legal resources to simply outmaneuver and exhaust Carano. But Disney's legal maneuvers were about to hit a brick wall, or rather, a judge's gavel. But this strategy was about to spectacularly backfire. Then, the hammer dropped. In a significant victory for Carano, a judge issued a decisive order. Disney must hand over internal communications and, crucially, actor pay records. This wasn't just about procedural formalities, this was about forcing Disney to open its books and reveal potentially sensitive information. The judge essentially said, "Enough games. Show us the numbers." This ruling was a major turning point because it compels Disney to be transparent, something they seemed determined to avoid. It suggests the court believes there's merit to Carano's claims and that Disney's actions warrant serious scrutiny. But what exactly is Disney trying to hide within those documents? So, what's Disney so afraid of revealing? The demand for actor pay records is particularly intriguing. Carano's lawyers are aiming to prove she was unfairly discriminated against and denied future earnings because of her political views. To do that, they need to compare her potential salary to that of other Star Wars actors, particularly those who might have expressed controversial opinions but were treated differently. Could these spreadsheets expose a pattern of pay disparity? Could they reveal internal communications that show a deliberate effort to punish Carano? The possibilities are explosive. This isn't just about Gina Carano's paycheck, it's about potentially unmasking how Disney operates behind the scenes, revealing corporate biases and questionable practices. And the clock is ticking for Disney to show their hand. Now, Disney has been given a stark ultimatum: 20 days to hand over the documents or face serious consequences. Miss the deadline and the legal repercussions could be severe. We're talking about potential sanctions, where the judge could penalize Disney financially or even instruct the jury to infer that Disney is hiding something damning. Imagine the message that would send. The pressure is immense. Disney's got just 20 days to decide: transparency or potential legal disaster. But even with this significant win for Carano, this is just one battle in a much larger war. The full trial is currently slated for 2026, meaning we have a year to watch this legal pot boil over to see if Disney will ultimately be forced to confront some uncomfortable truths. Will the Magic Kingdom's carefully constructed facade crumble, or will they manage to pull off one more illusion? The world is watching, waiting to see if this lawsuit will finally hold the mighty Disney accountable. And the answer to that question could reshape how Hollywood does business forever. It all began with a tweet, or rather, a series of them. Gina Carano, the charismatic and undeniably popular breakout star of The Mandalorian, the show that arguably breathed new life into the Star Wars franchise, found herself unexpectedly in the crosshairs. She wasn't just another actress, she embodied Cara Dune, a character celebrated for her strength, resilience, and no-nonsense attitude, a fan favorite who resonated deeply within the Star Wars universe. But Carano, known for her outspoken nature, began expressing political opinions online, opinions that diverged sharply from the increasingly vocal and progressive stance Disney was publicly embracing. While fans adored her on-screen persona, Disney, hypersensitive to its carefully crafted brand image and corporate values, deemed Carano's views not just incompatible, but actively detrimental to their family-friendly empire. The response was swift, decisive, and undeniably public, a firing heard around the galaxy. Disney severed ties, issuing statements condemning her views and effectively erasing Cara Dune from future Star Wars projects. Many cried foul, accusing Disney of hypocrisy and censorship, pointing to perceived double standards in how different actors were treated, and igniting a fierce debate about free speech within the hyper-politicized landscape of Hollywood. But this wasn't just a social media firestorm destined to burn out. This was the spark that ignited a much larger fight. A legal conflagration that would drag Disney kicking and screaming into a legal arena they seemed desperate to avoid. But did Disney, in their seemingly unshakable confidence, really believe that was the end of it? Did they underestimate the woman they just fired? Just when Disney, perhaps breathing a sigh of relief, thought they'd close the book on this controversial chapter, a true wildcard, a game changer, entered the arena: Elon Musk. Yes, that Elon Musk, the billionaire maverick, the self-proclaimed free speech absolutist, the man who thrives on disrupting established norms. Musk, known for his own very public and often contentious battles against perceived censorship and corporate overreach, saw an opportunity, a cause, and stepped in with the kind of dramatic flair only Elon Musk can deliver. He didn't just offer words of support, he offered cold, hard cash, bankrolling Carano's wrongful termination lawsuit with the full force of his considerable financial and legal resources. Imagine the collective gasp, the stunned silence that must have reverberated through Disney's pristine Burbank headquarters. This wasn't just a disgruntled actress lashing out. This was a David versus Goliath showdown, supercharged and amplified by one of the world's wealthiest and most unpredictable figures. Suddenly, the lawsuit wasn't just a legal nuisance, it had teeth, serious resources, and a whole new level of global public attention, transforming it from a potential PR problem into a genuine existential threat to Disney's carefully managed image. And suddenly, what initially looked like a simple, albeit controversial firing, became a full-blown corporate nightmare for the House of Mouse. The mouse had just stepped into a legal mousetrap of its own making, and the cheese was very, very expensive. Disney's initial response to this escalating legal threat? Predictably, it seemed to employ the classic corporate playbook: ignore the problem, downplay the severity, and hope it would all just vanish like pixie dust in a summer breeze. Accusations quickly surfaced, echoing through online forums and alternative news outlets, that the media giant was engaging in textbook stonewalling tactics. Carano's formidable legal team, now backed by Musk's deep pockets, claimed Disney was deliberately dragging their feet, systematically dodging legitimate requests for crucial information, and generally making it as excruciatingly difficult as possible to move the case towards any semblance of resolution. They were accused of blatant deflection, calculated delay, and a thinly veiled refusal to hand over essential documents that Carano's team believed held the key to proving their case. It looked, to outside observers, like Disney was confidently betting on their vast and seemingly limitless legal resources, hoping to simply outmaneuver, outspend, and ultimately exhaust Carano, grinding her down through a war of attrition in the complex and often labyrinthine legal system. But what Disney may have failed to anticipate was the tenacity of Carano herself and the unwavering resolve of her backer. Disney's legal maneuvers, their attempts to obfuscate and delay, were about to hit a brick wall, or rather, the unyielding force of a judge's gavel and the increasing impatience of the legal system itself. But this strategy of delay and deflection, this corporate dance of denial,